The music stopped the second Melissa grabbed the microphone. "Everyone, I have something to say." Daniel froze near the bar, drink in hand. He knew that tone. He'd heard it before, in smaller doses, in private. Never like this. Never in front of 40 people. "Daniel and I are officially divorced next month," Melissa announced, smiling like she'd won something. "And I just want to say, I finally understand what I deserve." She turned, locked eyes with him across the room. "You are a loser, Daniel. You always were." "But my new husband." She reached for Richard's hand, pulled him close. "Richard is not." Laughter. Someone's cousin snorted into their drink. A few people looked away, uncomfortable, but nobody stopped her. Daniel didn't move, didn't blink. He just set his glass down on the bar, slow and deliberate, like he had all the time in the world. Richard smirked, arm sliding around Melissa's waist, chin lifted like a man accepting a trophy. Carol, Melissa's mother, stood near the cake table, eyes flicking to Daniel, then away. Guilty. She didn't say a word. Daniel scanned the room once. Faces he'd known for years. The family who'd eaten at his table, borrowed his money, called him family, now grinning at his humiliation like it was dinner theater. He said nothing. He walked out. In the parking lot, his hands were steady. That was the strange part. No shake, no rage tremor, just clarity, cold and total, settling into his chest like ice water. He got into his car, sat for a moment in the dark, then pulled out his phone and dialed. It rang twice. "James," Daniel said quietly. "It's time." A pause on the other end. Then his brother's voice, careful. "You sure?" Daniel looked back once at the house, at the windows glowing gold, at the party still laughing without him. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life." He hung up. And for the first time in 3 years, Daniel Carter smiled. James was waiting when Daniel walked into the office the next morning. Dark circles, tie loosened, coffee untouched on the desk. "You've been sitting on this for 2 years, James said. 2 years, Daniel. She humiliates you at your own kid's birthday last spring, snaps at you in front of clients. And now this? In front of the whole family?" "I know. So why now? Why not when she filed?" Daniel sat across from him, finally letting the calm crack, just slightly. "Because I didn't want to be the guy who destroys his ex out of spite. I wanted to be better than that. And now? Now she stood in front of my aunts, my cousins, my father's old friends, and called me a loser." Daniel's jaw tightened. "She doesn't even know what I've built. She thinks I'm still grinding at the same firm, barely making rent. That's the version of me she divorced." James leaned back. "She doesn't know about Meridian." "Nobody does. Not her, not Carol, not one person from that party." Daniel had built Meridian Capital from nothing, quietly, methodically. 3 years of 16-hour days, while Melissa complained he wasn't present enough for a marriage that was already dead. He'd let her believe he was struggling. Pride, maybe, or just not wanting to give her another reason to feel entitled to what he'd built. Sophia knocked once and let herself in, phone already in hand. "I heard what happened. Everyone's talking about it. Daniel, I'm so sorry." "Don't be." Daniel's voice was flat, controlled. "I'm not." Sophia studied him. She'd worked beside him for 4 years, watched him absorb hit after hit without flinching. She'd never seen this look on his face before. Something had shifted. "What are you thinking?" she asked slowly. Daniel turned to James. The car, it's still titled in my name, right? Never transferred after the settlement? James nodded. Correct. And the joint account from the house sale, Melissa never closed it. Technically, still active. Still tied to you. And Richard? James's expression changed. Funny you ask. Meridian's fraud division flagged a client 3 weeks ago. Shell companies, inflated portfolio numbers, moving money in circles. We hadn't pulled the name yet. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Pull it. James typed, scrolled, then went very still. Daniel, he said quietly. It's Richard. Silence settled over the room. Sophia looked between the brothers, sensing the shift. This wasn't rage anymore. This was strategy. Daniel stood, walked to the window, looked out at the city that had no idea what he was worth. She wanted to know what she deserves, he said softly. Let's show her. He turned back to James. I know exactly how to make her lose everything. Legally. And I'm not going to feel 1 ounce of guilt doing it. By Thursday, the plan had a shape. James spread 3 folders across the conference table. Joint account first. It's still active. Still linked to your SSN as primary. You never authorized Melissa as sole owner after the divorce filing. Legally, you can freeze it today. Do it, Daniel said. Second, the car. Title's in your name. She's been driving it 18 months on borrowed time, technically without your consent, since the separation agreement never formally transferred it. Repossess it. Sophia looked up from her laptop. And the alimony clause? James pulled the 3rd folder open. This is the good part. Your settlement includes a standard remarriage clause. Alimony terminates automatically if she remarries. She married Richard 2 months ago and never disclosed it to stop the payments. She's been collecting money she's not legally entitled to for 8 weeks. Daniel's expression didn't change, but something in his eyes sharpened. So she's been quietly stealing from me while calling me a loser at parties. Looks that way. Fix it, retroactively. I want every dollar back. Sophia turned her screen around. There's more. I dug into Richard's business filings last night. Voss Premier Investments. Daniel, this isn't just inflated numbers. It's a full Ponzi structure. He's been paying early investors with new investor money for at least 2 years. No real returns. No real funds. James exhaled. That's not a lawsuit. That's the SEC. How solid is the evidence? Daniel asked. Solid enough that when it breaks everything, Sophia said. His investors, his image, his marriage, all of it collapses at once. Daniel walked to the window, hands in his pockets, quiet for a long moment. I'm not going to leak it, he said finally. I'm not going to be the villain in this story. I'm going to make 1 phone call to a compliance contact I trust, hand over what we found, and let the system do what it's designed to do. And the rest? James asked. The car, the account, the alimony? That's not revenge, Daniel said. That's just me finally stopping the bleeding I let happen out of guilt. Sophia closed her laptop. So what's the timeline? Daniel checked his watch. Freeze the account this afternoon. The car gets picked up tomorrow morning. I will make the call to compliance tonight. James studied his brother. The calm, the precision, none of the bitterness he'd expected. You don't even look angry anymore. I'm not angry, Daniel said. I'm done being invisible. That night, Daniel sat alone in his apartment, phone in hand, staring at a name in his contacts. Marcus Webb. SEC Compliance. Regional Office. He typed one message. Marcus, I have documentation on a fraud case you'll want to see immediately. Sending files now. This one's big. He hit send. Somewhere across town, Richard Voss had no idea his entire world was about to start collapsing. And Melissa had no idea she was standing right in the middle of it. Melissa woke up to a knock on the door at 7:40 a.m. A tow truck sat in the driveway. Ma'am, I need you to move any personal items from the vehicle, the driver said, clipboard in hand. Repossession order, filed by the registered owner. Registered owner? Melissa's voice cracked. This is my car. Title says Daniel Carter, ma'am. Neighbors were already stepping onto porches, phones half raised. Melissa stood in her robe in the driveway, humiliation crawling up her neck as the truck hauled her BMW away in broad daylight. She called Daniel immediately. Straight to voicemail. She called again. Voicemail. By noon, it got worse. She tried to pay for groceries, and her card declined. Then again at the gas station. She logged into the joint account from her phone, hands shaking. Account frozen. Contact primary holder. What is going on? She muttered, dialing Richard. He didn't pick up either. She drove to his office. Technically, she was Ubered, since she had no car and no cash, and found the lobby swarming with people she didn't recognize. Suits. Serious faces. A woman near the front desk was arguing loudly. I want my money. I want it now. Where is Richard? Melissa pushed through. What's happening? The woman turned on her, eyes wild. You're his wife? Ask him where my retirement went. Ask him where everyone's money went. Melissa's stomach dropped. She found Richard in the stairwell, phone pressed to his ear, whispering urgently to someone. When he saw her, his face went pale. Richard, what is going on? People are saying, not now, Melissa. Not now. My car got repossessed this morning. Our account is frozen, and there's a mob in your lobby. I said not now. He shoved past her, nearly knocking her into the railing, and disappeared down the stairs. That evening, back at the house, a house she realized, with a sinking feeling, was actually still in Richard's name, not hers. She found a shoebox shoved in the back of his closet while looking for cash. Unpaid bills. Dozens of them. Credit collections. Overdue notices from 3 banks. A letter from a law firm with the words, cease and desist. Unauthorized use of investor funds, stamped across the top. Her hands trembled as she sat on the floor, surrounded by the wreckage of a life she thought she'd upgraded to. Her phone buzzed. A news alert. Local investment firm Voss Premier under SE's investigation for alleged Ponzi scheme. Assets frozen. Melissa stared at Richard's photo on the screen, the same confident smirk from the party, now sitting beside the word fraud in a headline the whole city would see. She looked around at the house, the shoebox, the torn envelope in her hand, and for the first time since the party, the smile she'd worn like armor completely disappeared. Richard came home past midnight, smelling like whiskey and panic. You knew, Melissa said, standing in the living room, the shoebox of bills still on the coffee table. You knew this whole time, and you let me stand there at that party bragging about you. Not now, Melissa. You made me humiliate Daniel. You made me look like a fool in front of my whole family, and it was all built on nothing? On stolen money? Lower your voice. I will not lower my voice. My car is gone. My accounts are frozen, and you're about to go to prison. Richard grabbed her arm hard. I said lower it. Let go of me. He shoved her back, not thinking, just reacting, drowning in his own collapse. And she stumbled into the side table, her blouse tearing at the shoulder as she caught herself against the wall. Silence. Melissa stood there, breathing hard, sleeve hanging torn, staring at the man she'd left Daniel for. Get out, she whispered. Melissa, get out of my house. It's my house, Richard snapped. Was. The bank's now, probably, by next week. He grabbed his coat, his keys, a duffel bag he must have packed earlier, like he'd already planned to run. I'm sorry it went this way. I really am. He left. Just like that. No goodbye, no explanation, just the sound of his car peeling out of the driveway into the dark. Melissa sat alone on the living room floor, torn blouse, no car, no money, phone buzzing uselessly with collection calls she couldn't stop. She thought about calling Daniel again. She'd tried 11 times that day. Every call went unanswered. Instead, her phone rang first. Her mother. Mom, Melissa's voice cracked the second she answered. Melissa, baby, what is going on? I saw the news about Richard. Are you okay? Where are you? Do you need me to come? I don't have a car, Mom. I don't have money. He hit me. Well, pushed me. And left. And I don't know what to do. Carol's voice shook. Okay. Stay there. I'm coming. But when Carol hung up, she didn't dial her own number for a ride. She sat in her kitchen, hands trembling, staring at one name in her contacts she hadn't called in over a year. She pressed the call. It rang once, twice. Daniel, she said the second he picked up, voice breaking. It's Carol. Please. Melissa needs help. Please, I'm begging you. Daniel was sitting in his apartment when Carol's name lit up his screen. He almost let it go to voicemail. Almost. He picked up. Daniel, please, I know I have no right to ask you for anything, but Melissa needs help. She has no car, no money. Richard hit her and left, and I don't know who else. Carol. Daniel's voice was calm. Too calm. Slow down. She's alone in that house, scared, and I can't get there fast enough, please, just this once. Carol. He let the silence sit for a second. Do you remember 3 days ago? At the party? Carol went quiet. Your daughter stood in front of 40 people and called me a loser. You were standing right there. You didn't say a word. Daniel, I know, but I spent 2 years protecting her from things I could have exposed. I paid alimony to a woman who was already remarried and didn't tell me. I let her keep a car that was legally mine because I didn't want to be petty. And the one time she publicly humiliates me, with your silence right beside her, you're calling to ask me to save her again? Carol was crying now. She's your family, Daniel. She was your wife. Was, Daniel repeated. Past tense. That's the part everyone keeps forgetting. He heard rustling on the line, then Melissa's voice, shaky and raw. Daniel, please. I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said. I don't know why I said it. I was trying to impress people. Melissa. She stopped. I'm not angry anymore, Daniel said. And it was true. The rage had burned out days ago, replaced by something quieter, clearer. I built something you never even knew about because I didn't need you to see it to know it was real. You needed everyone to see Richard's money, to believe it was real. That's the difference between us. Please, I have nowhere to go. Call a friend, call a shelter, call the number on any of those collection letters. I hear they're very patient people. His voice didn't rise. It didn't shake. I'm not coming, Melissa. Not tonight. Not any night. Daniel, please. You wanted to know what you deserve. You said it yourself, at the party, in front of everyone. He paused. This is it. This is what you built. Not me. He hung up. He sat there for a moment in the quiet apartment, phone dark in his hand, waiting for the guilt to arrive. It never came. 3 months later, Meridian Capital closed its biggest deal of the year. Sophia found Daniel in his office afterward, watching the city lights from his window. "You heard the news?" she asked. "Richard took a plea deal, 11 years. "I heard." "And Melissa?" "Moved back in with Carol, working retail last I heard." He said it without malice, without satisfaction, just a fact. Sophia studied him. "You could have destroyed her completely. You held back." "I didn't need to destroy her," Daniel said quietly. "I just needed to stop holding her up." He turned from the window, and for the first time in years, there was nothing heavy in his chest. No bitterness, no need for one more hit, one more headline. Just quiet, just peace. The loser from that party didn't exist anymore. He never really had.